Hi, welcome back to channel TrainStation2. Alright, really hoping to get first in this first competition itself. Do remember there's this gift code right now. You can give it a try. PTBLUE, that gives you 164 blue pots. That's for me. Probably different levels. You may get different amount of the blue pots itself. Probably can share in the comments if you get lesser than 164. So roughly we can have a sharing in terms of what's the amount expected at different levels. So during your sharing, do indicate your levels as well as your amount of blue parts that you got. So if it's the same, I think that's great. Alright, so now as usual, preparation work, a lot has been explained in this previous video. Just in case you missed those, just a very quick recap of what I've already said in my previous video. In the first competition itself, there's no way you can get EPH start. EPH start is only happening on the second competition, i.e. Before you could actually get those collected or completed jobs collected in an excited moment, keep them up around, and then eventually at the start of the second competition collect them so you can gain a head start against the other competitors with a good amount of EP. So besides that, you need to actually prepare a lot of items in the core factories, i.e. those non-event factories. Build up a lot of inventory so you can get them as when required, especially those periods of an hour or more to manufacture. Have them in your output tray. You can grab them straight away, and at the same time it doesn't affect your warehousing. This is just an example of the items you can lay out. Have lots of copper because it takes half an hour for each batch of 80, and in this event itself, you need copper. Not need that. You need steel and wood. That's why I'm keeping up a lot of barrels there, because once I cancel a barrel order, I could get back my wood and then I can just grab the wood and go. So generally that's how it works. For the event factory wise, make sure you keep on producing. I've upgraded, if you can see from previous video, to of those manufacturing slots. The first is 30 gems, the second is 80 gems. I'm depleting all my gems already, left now 13. With that two upgrades, really gotten spent like 110 gems. It's a lot to me. Always gain gems from events, then invest it back to the event. That's provided if you have upgraded all your factories. So for me, I can see here with that two additional manufacturing slots, it helps a lot in terms of production. Normally I'll invest into the long event like this, but not those very short ones because it's total waste of gems. You remember, if you have all this arrangement done in terms of upgrading of your core factories, you have that additional warehousing space, because once you store production there, the additional items you put in, like this, all the barrels, basically they are your additional warehousing space for wood. So that's how I did that. All right, so I mean, generally, that's about warehousing. In terms of increasing warehouse space, it's really difficult. The event, you may get a special building, and sometimes it adds on a bit of population. Otherwise, you're just going to keep on doing those upgrading requests, which needs lots of blue maps. So if you could grab those blue maps, exchange it from your union, rewards sometimes they appear. The other way is to gain favor of the greedy captains. The greedy captains appeared once in a couple of hours. Fulfill that greedy captain's request. You may gain some blue maps. Alternatively, you could actually dispose those requests, building upgrade requests that ask for blue maps. Go for those that doesn't ask for blue maps. Sometimes need a couple of hours before you can dispose those building requests. Watch a video or so. So generally, that's what I do. That's why upgrading of factory is extremely slow. Pardon me, upgrading of warehouse is extremely slow for me because it takes a long while to do so. So I think generally the management of warehousing space is just one part of playing TrainStation2. The other one about managing is really your fleet, your trains. I'm not talking about dispatchers yet. Dispatcher, I'll touch on it later. In terms of trains, if you are into events. Basically, if you are like me, really wanted to get all the legendaries from events, that's good because you are getting two numbers of legendary of 80 capacity, not your normal 60 capacity from the region legendary. We are talking about 80 capacity legendary from events. Collection of legendary trains are important, especially the fact that you can't really get legendary trains from the containers that you try your luck on. It's very difficult to get legendary out of containers. So as compared to gaining them from events, I think it's so much easier. The only thing you need to do is save up. You need to really not spend those coins or keys you have collected. Rather save up the 4,000 keys to in order to exchange for legendary or to win competitions. So like I've been sharing with you how to that gains you 350 coins per first for the win. I think about 250 for second, so that's about 100 difference, and 200 for third. So if you're consistently getting third, you will need 5 rounds of third in order to gain or save up 1,000 coins. So I'll presume sometimes if you're lucky, you get second. That will be faster, maybe at the end of fourth competition. Otherwise, by the fifth competition or latest the sixth, you should have at least 1,000 coin to exchange for the other legendary. Keys wise, if you keep on playing, I guarantee you definitely you'll be able to get at least 4,000 keys. Do not use those keys for special building or common or rare or even epic trains at the start. Save up. Just make sure you exchange for that. So minimum, you should get 1 legendary. If you fight hard in competition, you should get 2. Fighting hard in competition is just one part. Starting late is the key to winning competitions. 10 to 12 hours late is a must. There's no way about it. When you talk about starting late, basically don't play the game. Once you log into the game, even you do not click on the competition or the event map, you are already automatically registered into the competition. So make sure you do not play the game for 10 to 12 hours once you have done with your thing just before the start of the competition. So normally about 10 minutes or so before the start of competition, I will not touch the game at all. Only log on about 10 to 12 hours later. You'll find yourself in a more pleasant environment with less competitive players that don't really spend too much on using gems. So that makes competition easier. There's a good chance for you getting the top 3. So with that 5 competitions, you are done with 1,000 coins and can use it. When you get more of those coins on the 6th competition, then I'll urge you to exchange for coins if you could, because those coins are hard to come by. Bear in mind, Pixel always control 2 things. One is the quantity of coins you can get. They are providing you a very small amount every 4 hours, so you can get from the town that you have. For that, that's why I've talked about train capacity as next. Getting trains is 1. That's the fleet size. Capacity, do remember this. You have a 80 capacity legendary train with you after you win from the event. Fully upgrade at least 1 per region, because without those you can't really collect the maximum amount of gold. So the gold coin that we're going to collect, not talking about a competition one, but rather the amount of gold you collect from every region that's required, because you need parts and gold to upgrade your trains. So that's about talking about train capacity. Why do you want to upgrade a 80 capacity? Because you just grab the maximum of gold is 1. You go for competition, it's also so much easier. Had you spend your gold parts, your precious gold parts and gold into upgrading a 6 capacity legendary, I think that is not really worth it. So please do upgrade at least 80 capacity train, which I do in every single region, in order to gain the maximum amount of gold. So that's it. Let's go to the last in terms of the things you're going to prepare in terms of dispatcher. Dispatcher opportunity arise. I mean, couple of hours you get a part timer, but there's another opportunity for you to get a permanent dispatcher at the midpoint of your levels. So for example, I've just got mine at 650. The next one should should be at 750. Every time there's an opportunity to grab the permanent dispatcher, quickly work on those requirements. It is quite tough, ask for thousands of items, but once you are done, you have an additional dispatcher, and that helps a lot. Just bear in mind, additional dispatchers cost a lot of gems if you buy them on a week for competitions. If you buy them on a daily basis, it's even more expensive. Economy of scale wise, if you really have gems, you engage a 1 week additional dispatcher. But do you need to do all this? You need not do so if you have enough permanent dispatchers. When we talk about dispatchers now, there are two kinds. One is your routine dispatcher, and one that is your winter season, or you call it the union play competition. So when I talk about dispatchers right now, I'm talking the common ones. I have 12 numbers, whereas the winter season or the union play, I have 6 numbers. So both requirements are different. The union play you'd exchange using the currency or the dollar, they call it, from the union dollar, whereas for the permanent dispatchers from the midpoint I'm talking about, like next one is 750, they are using the items, the non-event factory items to exchange with. If you have tons of gems, you thought of getting the permanent dispatcher early, reconsider, because there's really no hurry to spend hundreds of gems to get the permanent dispatcher. Rather use it to upgrade all your factories, or use it during your events to upgrade your factory instead. So that's it. It's all up to you, but generally this is the sharing that I have based on experience. For new players, I mean, haven't been really sharing this much. A lot of people will be asking that should you be quickly upgrading your levels so you can go to the next region? And my question is always, what do you gain out of it? There's none. You only get more pain out of it, moving from region to region extremely fast, because once you cross a region, the pain arises, having to build your fleet size again. You can't carry forward your current fleet size or fleet capacity to the next region. You start afresh. You need to open containers. So getting enough of those metal keys to open containers is important. I've saved about 5,000 over metal keys. That would save it for the next region, because once you start the next region, you open containers. I'll normally open the 100 key container. That yields a better return. That's based on my own experience, but some people would rather use the 200 key containers. I mean, I would normally do a mix, a majority of 100 keys and then a minority of the 200 keys. As for all this is all up to you, but this is some sharing that I intend to share in every video. Alright, thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe, and good luck for the competition. Goodbye.